Hey, what is up, mortals? It is Trina Do Heart here with a new video for you. Welcome to part 5 of What If Uraraka Was an Electromaster? I just wanted to greet you guys by just saying, sit back and relax, you're in for a treat. So we begin. Little Uraraka had been brought to the hospital by her grandparents after they heard that their daughter had been injured in a sudden villain attack. Worried, they rushed there as fast as they could. The parent Uraraka got to see first was her father, who was in the waiting room. "Papa!" she shouted upon noticing him and ran to hug him. But once she reached him, he broke into tears, leaving the 4-year-old confused and worried.
"What's wrong, Papa? Did something happen to Mama?"
Your mother was attacked by a villain. All Might was able to save her, but the baby, your sister, she...
That was the day when young Ochako Uraraka was told that her mother had lost the baby. Her little sister had died before she got a chance to see the world. A rampaging electric beast was now running at Shigaraki, every step resounding like thunder.
What the hell is this? The schedule didn't mention another one until tomorrow morning. And this surge, this raw energy, could she be the...
Tomura had now begun to realize that this girl wasn't one of the disposable slimes. All the containers nearby started levitating violently in midair, while, at the same time, all the iron sand from the area was being gathered above the Thunder Goddess. Shigaraki could only dodge the killing blows as his bracelets could barely redirect the girl's onslaught of lightning strikes and thunder punches. He had no chance whatsoever to attack. All he could do was run away like a coward to survive. This became futile as the screaming girl includes both of them in an iron sand tornado. No more running away. The wrists were beginning to overheat, and they were starting to burn their owner. If he didn't end this immediately, he would be ripped apart. Desperately, he launched himself at her with his hand outstretched in the hopes of decaying her. But the lightning girl dodged and kicked him with a surge of purple electricity that sent him flying through the walls of the iron sand prison. The support items that he had abused until now were at their breaking point. And as the iron sand fell away, he saw how the girl had thrown something into the air. Uraraka had just pulled out her nail pack. 32 nail guns would be shot at him simultaneously. Genuine fear crossed Shigaraki's face as he saw her power up to shoot them all at him. A rain of nails was upon him. A humongous crater was left behind as all of them blew up on impact due to the excess of energy put into them. Tomura, being there, was still unscathed, but his wrists were scorched by the short circuit the wrist support items had after the attack. His life flashed before his eyes as he saw the girl appear in front of him. A lightning claw attack was about to rip his head clean off, but by a miracle, he was able to back away just enough to barely dodge it. The hand on his face hadn't been so lucky as it had disintegrated on contact with her energy. But another one was immediately launched after, and as he lost his footing, death was looking him right in the eyes. Fortunately for the apprentice of evil, a drone swept in and shot the girl with a dart, the raw electricity that had encompassed her disappearing almost instantaneously.
"What the hell?"
The now conscious girl cried out. She couldn't feel her quirk anymore. A kick went straight into her chest as the man that had fallen in front of her decided to counter, knocking her back into the floor. Ready to kill her, Tomura reached out to decay her out of existence. This annoying brat deserved it.
Stop right there, young Shigaraki.
Out of the drone, the voice of Dr. Kyudai Garaki came out.
Give me a good reason why I should spare her, Doctor. Otherwise, I'll do it slowly while you watch.
Shigaraki yelled back at the drone.
That's the nail gun, Ochako Uraraka, the original. Unless you want your master's plan to fail, then I recommend that you stand down.
The doctor explained. Fine. The man got up and away from his prey, going towards the drone, and once he reached it, he decayed it away.
Nobody tells me what to do,
he said with a creepy smile.
And as for you, I'll have a good time ripping you apart,
he loudly added as he now began to walk back to the girl who had made a mockery of him. But before he could move any further, he was stopped as a line of bullets grazed the floor.
"Those were warning shots. Uraraka warns,"
a clone stated as she approached. Behind her, at least 50 more were ready to do the same. Shigaraki, knowing that it was best not to engage without his trusty support items, bolted off. Surviving came first. Ochako was then briefed by the sisters that she had been shot with an experimental drug that would make her quirk go dormant for the next 3 hours. But after those hours had elapsed, they would return as if nothing had happened. And as they finished explaining that they moved on to cleaning duty, everything that had happened here tonight had to be erased. Ochako could only cry as she saw them picking up what was left of her little sister. No emotion was being emanated from these clones while doing so.
Uraraka believes that this is yours.
999 told her as she handed the now bloodstained All Might keychain to the original. Nailgun collapsed and screamed into the air, holding the keychain close to her heart as the pain of loss consumed her. Out of the group of clones, only one went to comfort her. It had been one of the younger ones here, as it was designated the number 10,031. Soon enough, their job was done, so they began to leave, but their big sister wasn't going to let that happen.
Wait!
She cried out, attracting their attention.
Why are you all doing this? You're alive, aren't you? Each and every one of you, and even her. So why would you throw away your lives? Why?
999 motioned for the others to keep moving while she returned to face her sibling. An explanation was in order.
Uraraka is just an imitation created for the sake of this experiment. Artificial bodies with artificial minds. She is a laboratory animal at a unit price of 200,000 yen each. There's no more to say, so farewell, big sister.
Hearing those words again, farewell, big sister, from someone that looked exactly like her little sister, but that sounded like a soulless machine, made Ochako cry harder. How could this be going on without people knowing? How did these experiments get approved? But none of those questions took much priority within her mind. All she could do was mourn the second little sister she had lost. An hour later, she made it back to UA, and at the entrance, she met up with a recovery girl, who was there to warn her not to interfere with these experiments ever again. Her first and final warning unless she wanted to be contained. Even in her defeated state, Ochako would have shot the bitch's head clean off with her remaining 4 nails. But due to her quirk being deactivated, she would have to suck it up and walk away. As she entered her dorm, she was surprised to see the class president there. Had she moved in already? Momo went straight to her to ask if she was okay. She was actually concerned. Uraraka lied about it to get her off her back, but the tall girl refused to believe her, and soon enough, she took her to the couch. You worried us when you suddenly had to go during our mall raid, and now you return this late looking so rough. Look, if there's anything you need to let out, let me know. I'm here to help, and not because I'm the class president, but because you're one of my precious classmates. Telling Yaoyorozu about what had happened wasn't an option, and even less when Nailgun felt like this was too much for even her to handle. At one point in her silence, while thinking about those events, tears began to roll down her cheeks. There, Momo said as she hugged her. It's okay. Let it all out. The class president patted her head softly, and this only made the broken-down girl cry harder. Soon enough, she had fallen asleep, so Yaoyorozu placed her head down on the couch gently and then got a blanket for her. Before turning off the lights, she looked back at her usually high-tempered classmate. Seeing someone so prideful as her crying so hard could only mean that something very traumatic had occurred. But knowing that she shouldn't force it, Momo decided to let Uraraka say it whenever she was ready to share it. And just like that, the day ended so another could begin in its place. Uraraka was right behind her younger self, the one that accepted the deal of giving away her DNA map. And as the little one shook the doctor's hand, she screamed for her to run, to refuse. But the more she screamed, the farther away they seemed. All then turned black as she was grabbed by many bloody and mutilated sisters.
I see. So Big Sister was the cause of everything.
They all cried out in unison.
No! I didn't want this to!
Ochako responded, trying to hold herself from being ripped apart.
Uraraka being created. Uraraka being killed. All of it. Because of you!
The sisters pulled harder with their scream, bringing their sister to the abyss below. Ochako woke up screaming. She was covered in sweat. But she quickly recomposed herself as she noticed that Yaoyorozu was making breakfast in the kitchen. The class president offered her some, and she accepted, but she would first take a bath. Perhaps that could wash away all the blood she had on her hands. While she's using the washroom, I'll take the chance to inform you all about our sponsor today, Adobe. Adobe is redefining the digital experience through game-changing innovations that shape the next generation of storytelling. Adobe makes it easy to create, edit, and share digital documents securely, allowing you to collaborate and communicate across devices. Adobe Photoshop is your go-to application for raster graphics editing and digital art as a whole. And we, the Celestials, all our thumbnails across every channel are created with Adobe Photoshop. Adobe Premiere Pro is a timeline-based and non-linear video editing software application that is versatile and easy for beginning and master editors. Finally, Adobe After Effects is the industry standard tool for digital visual effects, motion graphics, and compositing applications used in post-production. Many of our voice actors, audio editors, and video editors use Premiere Pro and After Effects to produce these high-quality videos. Click the link in the description to start creating now. And thank you to Adobe for sponsoring this video. Later in class, Aizawa announced a sports festival, making most of Class 1A rile up in excitement. Uraraka, though, couldn't have cared less. She had her head down throughout all of it. She couldn't share this enthusiasm that they displayed, knowing that more of her little sisters were being killed as she wasted her time here. Eventually, she wasn't able to hold herself any longer, so she lied about having to use the restroom and went back to her room. Using her PC, she hacked herself into 22 research centers involved with the experiment. And just like a cyber terrorist, she overloaded them, causing fires across all those facilities. While doing that, she also gathered the schedule of the experiment and saved it on a pen drive. She would be printing it later. Eventually, the scientists were able to stop her assault by cutting all outside sources, but by then, she had made most of those facilities inoperable for the unforeseeable future. The rest would have to be raided by her personally. That night, she wore her previously bought black attire, now with a dark Oni mask added to hide her face. Terrorist Uraraka was born. For the next 3 days, she destroyed facility after facility without rest. Eating became an afterthought, and so were her classes. They served no purpose anyway. No matter who stood in her way, she wouldn't stop. These assholes didn't bat an eye while seeing how her little sisters were murdered. So why should Ochako bat an eye while they screamed in agony? All these atrocities eventually got the attention of the one on top, and he contacted a team of mercenaries to deal with the troublemaker. To bring them alive, he ordered. With their payment guaranteed, Item didn't hesitate to visit the extensive facility that was currently under Nailgun's attack. All 5 of them would restrain the target and deliver it to the coordinates provided. After formulating a plan, they split up into 3 teams, and just like that, their operation began. Ochako soon collided with a petite blonde who loved explosives. Her name was Frenda Civilun, and if left by herself, she could blow up the entire facility with her explosives. But the fun soon ended for the explosive maniac as she was knocked out by another blonde. A blonde that Uraraka recognized.
Toga? The very same! How you doing, Coco?
Himiko exclaimed while pointing 2 knives at her friend.
Better, I guess. Thanks for the save. I feel like that saved me a ton of time. Her quirk was so annoying.
Ochako laughed while getting closer to the vampire chick.
No problem, but the brat's a quirkless one. She just lies to her foes, telling them that she can make small objects explode, but it's only her special dolls that can blow up.
Toga explained while putting her knives back on their holsters.
Huh, neat. But now that I think about it, why are you here? Easy! These gals are searching for a new member after the last one tragically died due to Frenda's recklessness. So I decided to join up. The pay is so good, and they even have an Olympic swimming pool at HQ! A freaking Olympic swimming pool, Coco!
The blood lover's eyes had turned to little hearts as she went further with her experience at Item HQ, grabbing her friend by the shoulders and shaking her to prove a point.
Well, gotta go!
The Electromaster announced as she began to run off. She couldn't distract herself right now.
I'll text you later!
As her friend was running away, Toga remembered something, so she shouted it.
Be careful on the lower floors! They're all full of Frenda's booby traps! I'll rig to blow the entire place up! Got it! Thanks!
Uraraka answered from afar. She would be more careful now. In a few short minutes, Nailgun had destroyed everything she came here for, and then she escaped into the darkness of the night. Toga had staged a fake event, lying about finding Frenda unconscious and seeing nobody around. Somehow, Mugino believed her, and being her usual self, she violently forced the petite blonde to wake up. Frenda was punished severely for her failure. The day after was a free day, so she went in very early to get it over with. But once there, Ochako's eyes went big. At the moment she checked the computer of one of the remaining facilities, an update had been issued earlier today telling all the personnel that all activities would be dismantled for the foreseeable future. A smile finally appeared on the teen's face, and she began to cry out of happiness. Her remaining little sisters wouldn't have to die anymore. Now knowing this, she went back to her dorm to sleep, but she was dragged into a get-together by Yayarozu. Now in the park alongside some of her classmates, Uraraka enjoyed a lovely meal prepared by all of them. Izuku was in charge of getting them beverages from a nearby vending machine, and he went there by himself. When he returned, He had somehow gotten each and every single one of the requested beverages wrong, cursing his rotten luck once more. He was forced to keep them as everyone just went to get their own after what they perceived to be a troll move from the green-haired boy. Sometime later, as they exchanged stories, the air turned heavy once more. Someone who wasn't meant to be here had made their presence known.
Big sister?
10,031 asked upon getting close to her seated older sister. You have a twin sister, Uraka? Deku questioned upon seeing that they shared the same face. Never before had he seen twins looking this identical to each other. She looks cuter than our Uraka, Chiro commented. Why didn't you tell us you had a sister, Uraka? Momo asked. Come join us, Mina then added. There's a spot where you can sit here, Chocho said while pointing right next to himself. But suddenly, Ochako stood up and grabbed the little sister's hand, taking her away from view and also from hearing distance. Seeing this, Midoriya wondered if it was a complicated household.
Why are you here?
The older sister then asked.
Training.
10,031 responded. This answer made Ochako grit her teeth. There was no way that these experiments were still going forward. There was no way.
Wasn't the project stopped? Halted? Why? Why? If by project you're referring to the Decay Ship project, it is proceeding according to schedule, Uraka answers. How the fuck? Even after all that?
But Nailgun stopped herself before confessing her crimes.
Yes, just now, experiment number 10,020 was concluded.
10,031 then added, fueling the flames that had just manifested.
What is she saying? How's this happening? I don't understand. Someone was killed again because of me. And soon, she too will.
The mere thoughts of what happened on the cursed night made poor Uraka puke the meal she had just eaten minutes ago.
What's wrong, big sis?
The little sister had now sounded normal. Unlike before, genuine concern had surfaced. But soon, her attention drifted to a nearby cat, the memory she had inherited from 9,982 making her feel fuzzy inside.
That's a kitten!
10,031 told herself. It was a cute one too.
Big sister, look!
She said loudly to attract her sister's attention. Sadly, this only made Ochako's already broken mental state break even more, as this reminded her of the little sister she witnessed dying.
Big sister, it's a kid! Stop it! That voice! Those eyes! That face! Stop appearing before me already!
The now crying teen screamed. She had lost it. The little sister was left astonished by this sudden outburst and even more by what was said, so she retreated without saying another word. Upon noticing this, rage fueled Ochako, and she punched a nearby lamppost, almost breaking her hand in the process. And after that, she collapsed on her back.
This is the fucking worst!
In tears, she cried out to herself. Moments later, the desperate girl hacked the servers again, and she just stood there, not knowing what to do anymore. 206 institutes had inherited the project. There was no way that she could destroy all those by herself, and that wouldn't even guarantee that more would inherit it once she destroyed some. She looked at the sky, and she finally realized how naive she had been. A true fool. All of Japan was under constant surveillance by satellites and high-tech cameras. A whole country had consented to inhuman experiments being repeatedly done outdoors. So did this mean that all of Japan was her enemy? She pondered on this until very late that night. Now in her bed, she could only wonder what to do.
Is there even a way left to solve this? Do I look up their leader and squeeze the answer out of him? If all of Japan is backing the experiments, then there's nothing I can do to stop it. Who set up this fucked up project? Wait! Shit! The reason my attacks haven't been made public is that they don't want to make the clones public knowledge. But if I were to destroy the computer, then they wouldn't be able to step back. But if I were to do that, then all chances of my life being normal would go to zero. After letting over 10,000 people die, I still think I deserve such a thing.
Those dark thoughts were then interrupted as she heard knocking on her door. She told them that it was open, and it opened up to reveal that it was Aizawa-sensei. He came in to check on her. She had been skipping school quite a bit lately, so he was worried. Even more so after Momo had come to tell him about the night she had arrived crying. Uraka hid her true emotions, and she told him that it was just a phase, that she would eventually get over it. But as the room grew silent, she decided to ask a question.
Hey, Aizawa-sensei.
What's wrong, kiddo? He asked after hearing her faint call out to him.
If I were to cause a calamity because of my recklessness, what would you do?
Uraka asked in a serious tone. You mean like you're already doing by lowering Class 1A's grade average?
You could just come to class and do your work to fix that, you know.
The teacher pointed out, which embarrassed the student into going a bit red.
I know that already!
She shouted, wanting him to stop.
I'll go back to class once I feel like it, okay?
Okay.
But that's not what I meant!
Uraraka then continued before he was to lose interest.
I meant it as doing something more fundamental than that to society.
At that instant, Shota stood up from the girl's bed and looked down at her with his glowing red eyes. He considered his words carefully before giving her a truthful answer.
I have no clue why you would even ask such a question. However, if someone were to threaten the people of Japan, be it you or anyone else, my duty as a hero still remains the same.
Ochako smiled sincerely. Her face had been facing away from her teacher, so he hadn't seen it. It made her truly happy that he had been this honest with her. Once he left and the light was turned off, she just stared at the starry night sky through her window.
I'm glad.
She lowered her vision just a bit, and she got to see him leaving the dorm. Her personal tutor had cared enough to visit her, and this made her content.
If ending the project means getting caught by Eraserhead, then I wouldn't mind it.
Thank you all for indulging yourselves in all this information thus far. I hope you enjoyed it. Now there are a few more things that I'd like to go over before the video ends. If you're in the mood with some great storytelling, We the Celestials has you covered. Our We the Celestials My Hero Academia and Naruto What If channels retell the story of the namesake anime with a twist. Check it out if you're interested. Now, on behalf of We the Celestials, I'd like to thank everyone involved in today's excellent content production. Their details can be found in the description below. Lastly, if you're interested in what we do here at We the Celestials, I'd like to extend an invitation to join the team. The only caveat is that we only accept members from 16 years old to join our crew. You can sign up for whichever category fills your interest by joining the Recruitment Discord using the link in the description below. We're always looking for members to join us. And if you want more content from me, check my Twitter and Twitch and YouTube at Trina Do Heart. Well, that's it from us for today's video. So thank you all for watching and have a great day. The next day.
Reality isn't that easygoing. Mom isn't here to solve my problems anymore. And a miracle won't occur just because I pray to God. There are no heroes who will rush to aid someone like me. So I've got no choice but to end this myself.
Now ready, she stumbled out of her dorm and made her way outside the UA grounds. But on the way, she met up with a freckled guy with terrible luck.
Hey, you're not coming to class today, Zappy Zap?
He asked, ruining the moment.
No, I have matters to attend to. And call me by my name. I'm no Sappy Zap.
The girl shouted in annoyance. This guy always managed to piss her off. The boy gave a smug look before switching the topic.
So, where's your sister? She doesn't live in the UA dorm alongside you, right?
That's none of your business. Just forget about her.
Can't forget about someone who helped me. Remember all those cans from yesterday? Your sister helped me bring them to my apartment. She was so nice and spoke like a true lady. Unlike someone I know.
The boy had clearly looked at her after saying that. Uraraka did not miss that.
You met her again?
Electricity suddenly came out of her, and she was forced to calm down as other students passing by started commenting on it.
And I wouldn't mind meeting her again,
he responded with a smile.
Yeah, whatever. Get to class, Deku. You'll be late.
She told him in the most disinterested tone and then began to walk off.
Okay, see ya.
After that, he went to class, and Ochako was ready to do her mission.
Yoda supercomputer. Soon you'll be laid to rest, and I'll be able to alter the project without a chance of a new simulation fixing it. You will never give any of your fucked up instructions ever again!